Hi, my name is Harpreet Dha, and I am an Ayurveda and mindset coach. And I also have today Kate with me, who is a relationship coach and a mindfulness coach, right?
Correct.
And so today we're going to be just having a discussion, kind of an introduction to mindfulness, and also just share a little bit about what Kate does and what I do in terms of like just holistic healing, and also how mindset coaching kind of works along with that. Um, Kate, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell everyone what you do, and how you just kind of got started in this space?
Hi, everyone. My name is Kate. I'm a mindfulness coach and I'm a relationship coach. I focus on mindfulness, first of all, and of course, it affects relationships. How I started that journey, it took me some health issues, to be honest, at the very beginning. And I guess many people get to mindfulness through that suffering with their body. Um, so for me, it started in 2020, end of 2020, beginning of 2021. I started having panic attacks and my breath wasn't really good. I didn't have enough air and I've never had health issues before then. And I started exploring what's happening with me. I've never was a person who would take pills and go to, like go for that heavy medical stuff. I always try to be more natural. I don't like to put in my body anything extra. And
Mm-hmm.
when psychology, like when I went to the doctor and psychologist gave me an option, like either I will take pills, antidepressants, or I will fix it myself. I chose to fix it myself through meditation, through cardio, through journaling, through understanding what's happening with my life, that my body reacts this way. And I started exploring. Um, I got into one meditation after another, one course after another, and I learned from different teachers, mindfulness teachers, and other like energy healers, how to work with my own energy and what it's like to actually be able to work with my own energy. And although I had the interest for spirituality and I was always like aware of all those things before, but I've never gotten so deep into it until my body showed me that this is the way for me. I should go this direction. Not long after, I got into a coaching certification because I understood that that's my path. This is my purpose. This is something that calls me in and also helps me. And through that experience, I can help others because my panic attacks start going away. I could feel that connection with my energy. I started learning about chakras and all of that, just the whole new world opened up, the whole spirituality world and even deeper. So since then, I'm just learning new tools. I'm going from one certification to another to be able to equip myself so I can help people even deeper, even stronger. So yeah, that has been a really great journey for me. I'm constantly enjoying the process and I love helping people as well. How about
Um,
you?
yeah, so I guess for me, my path was a little bit similar to yours in the sense that I had, but mine wasn't just like one little thing. It was like kind of a culmination of like a lot of stress over the years and kind of that built up, right? So my body, it was like it was, because your body knows what's going on. It keeps score. It knows like, kind of like, because the energy, like you talked about, right? It just was stagnant and I just didn't know what was going on because I just felt so depleted all the time. I felt like, I was juggling, like a lot of us women do, right? Juggling so many things, running around, so many different responsibilities, right? And I had a business at the time and then a daughter, parents, like just I was managing so much, right? And I just didn't know why I was feeling so just like drained all the time. And so, like you, I'm not, I hate taking pills. If it's like I'm on a deathbed and I have to take something, I will. Otherwise, it's like the last resort just because I know that the body is capable of healing itself and there's so many different like natural alternatives, right? So I went to so many doctors because I started out with getting really bad digestive system. And so I think looking back now and knowing all that I do, it's because, right, like when your body is in like fight or flight and constant stress, it takes away from the digestive process. Like your digestive process then is like, it's not working at all. And so I had like so many, like a myriad of digestive issues, like acid reflux. I couldn't, swallow anything. I couldn't like, indigestion all the time. And, I had like everything, all the different like gastritis. And it was just like, what is going on with me? I lost so much weight all of a sudden. And, so then I kind of went into that whole, like a rabbit hole of like, what's going on with me? What, why am I losing weight? Why can't I digest stuff? And it was a lot more stress too, because I couldn't figure out what was going on with me. And so finally, after like going to all these gastroenterologists and doctors and doing all these tests, I still was left with nothing. And so I ended up going to India, and that's when I discovered Ayurveda there. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, this is going to help me. And it did. So I came back and I got certified, and that just kind of like paved this path for me. Like you said, right? Like your purpose and passion. And same thing with me. It was like, this is it. Like I'm meant to do this. And so I first healed myself. I learned all of the different teachings of Ayurveda and what it really encompasses, and how, as people, we should, just modern day humans, how we should live, right? More aligned to nature, and, not just so in our heads all the time, right? Because that's not how we're meant to live. And so that's kind of survival mode, but I want it to be thriving. So, fast forward all these years now, I'm certified. And so then I also got into like a lot of other modalities like EFT and NLP, and just kind of more mindset too, because I mean, healing is all based on whatever is going on up here, right? This is kind of the driver of everything. It's like the engine of everything. And so, it's basically just impacted my whole way of being, just how I think, how I eat, how I deal with people, how I deal with my day to day. And like when I make decisions too, is like, is this good for my mindset? Is this good for my long term? Or is this just something that's going to really distract me and really drain me again? And so I kind of think of a lot of things based on that. So for me, it's been amazing. And, my passion is to help other women too, kind of going through the same things that I did, to kind of get out of that and like realize that they do have a lot more power than they think, and they don't have to be stuck in that kind of like stress cycle all the time. So that's kind of, been my path so far, and I'm loving it so far.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's similar. Yeah. Like once we experience it ourselves and find the answers, it's kind
Yeah.
of, you want to help, you want to give it
Exactly. Exactly. So I was going to ask you, I know you said you're a relationship coach. So how did that, I guess, from going from mindfulness, right? And, taking all those courses, how did you then turn into like a relationship coach afterwards? Like, and how does mindfulness equate into healthier relationships? Can you explain that?
Mhm. Well, we all surrounded by relationships. It's all comes to relationships after all. And, for me, it was like the main topic as like, starting with relationships with my parents, the first people who made me, and, further with my friends and with my partner at the time, like whoever was it there. And I was just exploring, like, for me, becoming mindful, really, like, and practicing my practices. I was dating very religious guy at the time back then when I just got it into mindfulness, like deeper. And well, after a while, our paths were like different because he is more religious and I went for like more spirituality and more like open-minded kind of spirituality. That was also a big part. Like I started having panic attacks while I was in a relationship, which I could feel that it's not right relationship for me, but I was still staying there because I was so attached to a person. And that's really not being mindful because you are more attached, and it's not real love neither, because love is when you just appreciate the person and you don't have to them to be next to you constantly and like being afraid to lose them so much. Both of us were in that kind of a little bit sick relationship. And once I started figuring out my own thing, like I started meditating more, journaling more, understanding what I want. That's what mindfulness is about. You aware, you just awoken and you are aware. You know your thoughts. You know what kind of thoughts you want to have to achieve your goals. You notice when it's negative thoughts, and you know that you have the tools to work with those negative thoughts, especially if you have knowledge about energy work. There's so many ways how you can work with your energy to remove those negative thoughts. Basically, it goes through meditation, or you can use chakras as well, like working with your chakras, finding that negative emotion, and in meditation also like remove that energy, connecting to the source. And that's if going deeper into energy work. So I just dove into all that experience, and it helped me to see who I am. First of all, who I am, like truly, what my soul is about, what kind of really, and that once you understand your own nature, your own self, you hear your own voice, and that's would be higher self voice. Once you connect to your higher self, you understand what kind of relationship you would like to have in your life, what kind of relationship you would like to attract and create, and what kind of relationship will be the most healthy for you and aligned with your purpose. That's how it's all connected. Once you are open-minded, you're mindful, you know what you want, you understand everything like clearly, you start attracting those relationships easier. And you can recognize when the relationship like has unhealthy boundary or some kind of negative effect on you, and you can see it clearly and you can stop it right there and also approach it in a more healthy way. So it's definitely a huge connection. And overall, yeah, like I chose to work specifically with relationships because it has such an impact on my life overall, everyone's life, because we're all here as a
Yeah.
group of people together.
So can I ask, like, from when you first started getting into mindfulness, right, and to now, do you yourself see the shift in your personal relationship with yourself and also people around you? And what about people around you? Have they noticed that shift too?
Definitely, yes. Well, there was a rough year for like first year where I was like, okay, I'm changing now. And the most challenging, of course, when you start changing, um, the people who surround you, some of them just don't align with you anymore, and
Yeah,
some of them just fall off like your life.
for
Um,
sure.
I'm like personally, I'm really free person. I'm able to like connect easy with people and also let them go easy overall. So it wasn't the big challenge for me, like as to like I mean it was a challenge still. I even though like I have this ability like easier to do it, but it was still a challenge. However, there were some people fell off of my life. Like it just happened and we're just not in the same vibe anymore and we don't even talk anymore. But there was, for example, one friend that one of my best friends from high school, and she's in Russia right now, and she's been there, and I moved here to United States. So we kept our friendship over time, like through the online communication. But when I went visiting there, like a few years back, I met her, and after hanging out together, I realized that she's also one of the people who I just don't connect anymore with. Like she drinks more alcohol, and she's like even the way she, you know, her life structured, it's not aligning with what I want to see around me. So
Yeah.
I was like, when I left, I had the conversation with her as to like I don't see us aligning anymore, and I'm not interested. Like everything that you're trying to talk to me about, it's just not that I want to talk about. Like that, this is that simple. And we haven't spoken in a year after that, and a year later, she reached out, and I was open still, like to have a communication if she wanted, but I could see that the friendship as it was, it's not the same anymore. So when she reached out a year later, it's almost like she kind of like got to the same point, like, or closer to me. And she also changed, and her habits changed, and we vibed again. We again started like having this conversations. Plus we had that base of our friendship from the past. So that also can happen. I want to say that it's not always that people will fall off, but sometimes for some time, temporarily, they may fall off your life, but then who knows, you may align again. And that was a great experience for me, and like a lesson as well.
Yeah, no, I can totally relate to that. And I feel like with that, it's really beautiful that you said that it's okay for you to let people go or come into your life, because sometimes we're so attached to that actual person. But yeah, we should be, like you're saying, attached to more our being and what we need, and like our soul and what it really, what really aligns with it, right? Because that's what's going to give us joy and happiness, right? And so that's what we should be more connected to. And the people that are going to come, they'll morph into the person that they're meant to be, if they're meant to be in our lives. And if not, that's their path. And you know how they say sometimes you meet people for like a season or like a reason or a lifetime, right? That kind of thing. So I think that was really beautiful. And I think a lot of people could benefit to hear from that, because I think sometimes we're just like, oh my gosh, I'm trying so hard with this person. It's just not working. Why? But really inside, we know that we're meant for something else, but we're just so like attached, right? But it's okay if people come in and out of our lives, right? That's not we shouldn't be attached to that, because I think that's where problems start, right? Anxiety and, depression and all that, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Totally. Yeah, you're trying to make something work that it's just not supposed to work right now. You need to be free to move on, to
Yeah.
move with your life. Yeah, instead of
Yeah.
holding on to something. Yeah. Tell me more about doshas in Ayurveda, and
Okay.
the importance of it and how it's all work in the body.
Um, yeah, so a lot of people, one thing that I've kind of come across is like when I talk about Ayurveda, there's some people that have heard of it and a lot of people that haven't. So I feel like I end up just kind of educating a lot of people on what Ayurveda is. And so one thing that I think is important to preface is that it's like the sister science of yoga. So it was started in India about 5,000 years ago. And so it's a really ancient healing system. It's not just something new that, somebody just kind of like, concocted yesterday, right?
Mhm.
And so this ancient healing system is really based on the five elements. So, which is like air, space, earth, water, and fire. And those five elements is prevalent in all of this world, right? In nature, in humans, in animals, whatever you look at, it all has these five elements. And so based on these elements, whatever percentage that you have, or whatever percentage I have of each element, that becomes my dosha. So another way of saying it is like your mind body constitution. So me personally, I'm more of a vata, which is more air, more space. So
Mhm.
I usually have to work on being more grounded, because, when you're airy, you're kind of like in the head, you're up in the clouds. People are like, oh my gosh, he's always in his head, right? So you have a tendency to get more insomnia, depression, anxiety, because you're in your head all the time, right? Too much air in there. And so you have to work on getting more earth, right? Which is just grounding, balancing, just being, solid on your feet. And so that's kapha. Kapha is like more earth. And and then Pitta, which is the other one, the other third dosha. So there's three doshas: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And so Pitta is a lot more fire. So people that are very kind of like dominant, they're very like CEOs. A lot of CEOs are Pitta qualities. They're very just like, headstrong. They know what they want. They're very, they have those leadership qualities. And so those are the good, when your vata or your pitta is in balance. But when it's out of balance, too much fire, that's when then people, you see them out of control, rageful, angry, heartburn, they have like maybe a lot of acne or a lot of like, sores and bumps coming out. it's because there's so much like heat, right? And too much fire coming inside their body. And so it's coming out, right? You know, when people are angry, they're like, oh my gosh, like he was just super angry. They need to like cool down, which is where it comes from, right? Because there's too much heat. And so they need to like, have more cooling properties in their body. So it's very intuitive. It makes a lot of sense. Whereas like, so one thing that's amazing with Ayurveda, which I really like, is that it's very proactive. It's not reactive. So you can work on just like balancing constantly your doshas. Whereas Western medicine, it's like if you don't show a symptom, it's very reactive, right? So once you get a certain, I would say a certain diagnosis, well, now you have heart disease, now you have cholesterol, and now you have like, um, some other whatever disease, right? Then they work on, okay, let's just put a Band-Aid on it, which is like their pharmaceutical medicines. It's not treating it from the root, right? It's just kind of putting a Band-Aid so it'll just kind of like maintain for a while. Because really, if you think about it, if it was taking it from the root, then you wouldn't have to take medicines all these years. You would just take it once, really heal it. Your body would become back in harmony and balance, and then you're fine, right? So whereas like with Ayurveda, it's really treating it from the root because you're working on really balancing that dosha that is out of balance and out of harmony. So like we talked about, too much air or too much water or too much earth, right? So someone that has too much earth is someone that's very sluggish, slow, overweight, maybe too much cholesterol, right? Like things are just bogging them down. And so then you want to get a little bit more light, like more air so that they would need more vata foods and vata like lifestyle. So based on these different, doshas, so that would be kind of like the roadmap for a specific person. Like, what do I need to do in order to balance what's going on with me in order to get back to baseline? And so usually, you just do a constitution or like an assessment of like what's going on with somebody. And so from that, because then there's foods too, also have like cooling and heating properties. And I know that Chinese medicine also talks a lot about that, cooling foods and heating foods. And so, which is very crucial to know. Because if you're already having too much fire, you don't want to be eating very hot foods, right? Things that have like, just spicy, hot things because they're going to increase that pitta in your body. So you want to have something like rose water or like a cucumber or aloe, things that'll like, calm and cool that body. So basically it's an overall like assessment, of like how you can balance your doshas and get back to baseline and harmonize all of your doshas. And so with that, like I mentioned, diet, breath work, pranayama, which can also cool and heat your body too. I mean, pranayama is amazing. We could have like a whole like podcast or discussion on just like breath work because it really has so much to do with like how your body is functioning. Then along with meditation, like you mentioned, chakra balancing. I mean, there's so many different natural ways to heal your body that I think today's society, and I think you could agree, is that everybody just wants a quick fix, because they're too busy. Everybody just wants to know, okay, just give me something really quick so I can go on and I can go to my other things that I want to do. Let me get on social media again. Let me go out with my friends. Let me like go shopping. Let me like, scroll again. And so I can just kind of like, put a Band-Aid on for just a little bit and get on with my life. But really what you're just doing is your body is always sending a signal, right? Just like a car. If there's like a check engine sign, there's only so much you can go until you're going to actually have to like really do some major work on it. You cannot have it sit there. So if you're having issues right now, your body is signaling to you, hey, slow down, stop. Like there's something that's like kind of malfunctioning right now. So I need help. But we just ignore it as much as we can because we're like, let me just get a pill. Let me just take something else, or let me just eat fast food because I'm too busy, right? And, but you realize later that food has a huge impact on how we feel. And it's not just like getting some food in, it's like it's nourishment, which means how are we actually giving our body that gas and those nutrients and all of those things in order for it to like be in harmony at all times, right? And so, a couple of years ago, I had a lot of acid reflux and with the digestive system that I was mentioning. So I had to really cut out a lot of the eating foods because I'm Indian, I'm from India. So I love spicy, I love heat, I love all of that stuff. Because before it was like if I don't have any kind of spice in my food, it's like so bland, I couldn't eat it. But because my body couldn't digest it at the time, I had to cut it all out. I had to cut all of that stuff out in order to get back into balance, right? And so, a lot of times, I think put our taste above like, what our body needs at the time, right? Just like you talked about, right? Just like attachment to certain things. Taste
Yeah.
and food is one of them too. We're attached to certain things, right? And so, but once we realize what do I really need in order for me to feel better, in order for me to thrive, then it's just so much easier to give up things and people and relationships and habits, right? In order to get back into that place of like calmness and balance. And for me, it was like, okay, I have to be really mindful also of like doing things that are like calming me all the time. I can't have a lot of caffeine. I can't do like intense cardio anymore. I can't do a lot of things because my thought that because over the years with stress has been like just really high. And so then I tend to get insomnia and just like a lot of those vata issues. So I have to be really mindful of what I need and not what people are saying I need. So
Hmm.
I tend to stick with more yoga, walking, just slow, low impact things that um, I know will keep my body just calmer. And so I think also we tend to like kind of compare with others. Well, so and so is like doing high impact hit all the time and she looks amazing. So maybe I should be doing that all the time. You can't do that. You have to like really assess where your body is at. Like we talked about, mind, body, constitution, because we're all made differently, right? And so just like we look different, we have different, needs and passions and desires and goals. Our body needs different nutrition and also, habits. Like what are your routines? Ayurveda is really into routine. And so what are your daily, like morning routine and evening routine? So two things that I would recommend for everyone is to really establish a morning routine and an evening routine because those rituals will really, really go far into like how your day is in your morning. And then evening, it sets the stage for your like rest, that time at night. So those are things that I don't like compromising and I don't like being on the phone. I'm like, okay, somebody's calling, I'll call them back tomorrow because I don't want to disturb my time. And I think that's not being selfish. It's just self-care, right? And loving yourself. So I really love how Ayurveda has like kind of allowed me to like establish these things because I feel so much better inside.
Yeah, that's great. Like that would you call it science or like a just way of living?
Yeah. I mean, that's how people say it. It's like, it's a way of life, it's a science though too. There's a methodology behind it. It's not just like, here, you're like this, Kate, you do this or me, Harpreet, I'm just going to do this. You understand, assess the person, and then you can tell them. And so then you have that roadmap, like I talked about on what's going to be ideal for you as a person and not everybody, right? Because nowadays, sometimes people are like, everybody needs to drink the celery juice, right?
Mhm.
Everybody needs to like, just be doing hardcore cardio or weights all the time or like cycling. It just doesn't work for everyone. And so we need to really be mindful, just like he talks about in relationships. Like we're not meant to like be friends with everyone and have everyone in our life. It's it's like over it's inundating our minds, just like social media sometimes, which is a whole new topic. But just sometimes our mind, like Ayurveda really talks about that too, is like keep it as free as possible and empty. It's a vessel, right? So we want to keep it like open and empty as possible. If we're already stuffing too many things in it all the time, it's overwhelmed. And so then we get panic attacks where just kind of like it's not able to function properly. Like it needs to feel free, right? And then you feel better that way.
Yeah.
So I personally try to just kind of like establish, okay, what am I feeling today? What's good for me? If someone else can be okay with sleeping at, 12 o'clock every night, that's them. You do what's good for you, right? And just need 4 hours of sleep and they can get up at 4. There's no competition. I need more sleep. I mean, I'm a person who needs a lot of sleep and I'm not embarrassed about it, and I think sometimes people are like, it's kind of like a medal of honor. Well, I get up at 4 and I don't need a lot of sleep. Okay, well, that's good if it works for you. But if it doesn't, don't be ashamed of it that you need more sleep and, to function. Your body feels better that way because the goal is to thrive and feel better. It's not like, hey, I get up at 3 and I only need 3 hours of sleep, or I get up at 5 and I only need 5 hours of sleep. I mean, I need 8 or more. At my age right now, I do. And it's like, I'm okay with it. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's a kind of competition. Some people go with that as a competition. Like if I can sleep less than you, then I'm like better in some way, but it doesn't mean
yeah, I
this.
can accomplish more. And the goal isn't to accomplish more. I'll always be productive. Sometimes you can actually not do anything for the whole day, but really still be like feeding your soul because that's what your body needed that day, right? Sometimes
Rest.
your body just like, with excess cortisol and things like that, sometimes our body needs that downtime just to kind of like, just sit and just not do anything, not think of much and just kind of like clear some of that like excess, negative energy out, right? Maybe it's just sitting and contemplating, just a meditation, just like deep breathing, alternate nose breathing, something, right? But we need to really, I think you and I maybe both agree is that do what, your body needs for you. Honor that rather than, trying to always be productive and accomplishing so much every day because I think our society has come to that. Like that's why we're running around all the time, right? Just constant go, 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 go. Even fast food in the car, eating in the car, just everything is just go, go, go. And so,
Yeah.
and scrolling. So everything is just like, we're always just like so fast. So if we need days where we just don't do much and not anything, it's actually
Yeah.
good
It's
for
productive.
you.
Also
It's
productive.
exactly.
I just had that experience yesterday because I always have a list of to-dos for me and I'm organized with my life. I like the structure and I have to have the structure because like I like to do so many things at the same time. So I have many to-do lists and yesterday there was a day that I was supposed to do something on my plan, but I realized in the morning that I just don't feel like doing it. Like I just don't feel like doing all these tasks, but I feel like more relaxing, watching the movie I wanted to watch for a while, and I spend that time this way. The whole day I spend very calm at home, chill. It's Saturday and I don't have to run anywhere. And that gave me even more positivity today. Like I don't feel tired. I'm excited about the day. I'm excited about the tasks today.
Yeah.
So that definitely helped to take a rest. And that's also mindfulness as to like recognizing when you need rest and accepting it and go with it and enjoy it. Like just be in the moment and feel what you need and do it.
Exactly. And I think we kind of touched on that. And Ayurveda and mindfulness talks a lot about this too, is that boundaries isn't just for like how other people deal with you and you deal with other people. Boundaries are also your personal boundaries, right?
Yeah.
How
Yes.
much do I push myself? Because I've been there. I'm a type A perfectionist, people pleaser. I've been there. Don't, like I was top of the class, like, just always like my former business. I was like, just constant like magazines, articles, newspapers, always in everything, every group, just everywhere.
Okay.
And so for a while, I got burnt out really bad because I was just doing so much. And I thought that being productive and busy, busy, busy was like where you're going to achieve your goals and like, make a name for yourself. But what I was doing was I was basically living for my accolades and my achievements, right? That's what was like, that was my identity. And so I didn't realize that slowing down because even like in my culture too, like it's just always like, you just got to keep going, right? And so producing and making money and doing something, because if you just sit around and lounge all day, maybe it's like, oh my gosh, you're so lazy today. you didn't do anything, right? I can't believe you did that. And especially like when you live with other people, like in our culture, extended families, larger families, it's just hard just to lounge and just be in your PJs in bed all day because people are like, what are you doing? Aren't you going to come out? And so, like you said, you just watched a movie that day. And so today you're productive. It's because your body was telling you, hey, I need just like a slow day today. I need to just rest. And so tomorrow we'll get back on it because as you know, the to-do list never ends, right?
Yeah,
It never, once you have those like 10 tasks done, there's going to be another 20 because you
yeah,
finish that. That's the next step.
yeah,
So as we, like kind of, get deeper into like, ourselves and who we are, what we need, I think that we get more comfortable and we feel safer in what our body is telling us outside of like what people are telling us is normal and productive and you should be always on the go doing things, right? Because sometimes on the weekends, like I don't feel like doing much and it's like because I have the weekdays to do things or a certain time, I'll set a time now too at night. I'm not going to work really beyond that because after that, I need my mind to just shut off. I need it to relax. I need, my mind then because that's like my engine, right? That's what's going to like make me keep going. Cause if I overuse it, then I'm going to have other issues. But I think nowadays, no, people don't talk about it as much, right? It's like, just keep going. What can you achieve? What can you do? And having social media these days, it's like this 24/7. Anytime you go in there, someone's like posting something, doing something. So it's like kind of this competition of like, am I even doing enough? Should I be doing more? They're doing this many reels or they're doing that much. Should I do that? But it's an internal, kind of a satisfaction, or fulfillment that you have to give to yourself. I've done enough today. Good job. Like I don't
yeah.
need to tell people, but hey, you've done a great job. You need to relax now, eat some good food, maybe watch a movie, go on a walk, just something where your mind then is turned off and relaxed and not always on because that
Yeah.
is not healthy. It's very toxic.
I think it's also has to do with how you feel the self-love and self-worth.
Mhm.
Um, Same as with the society effect on you that if you don't do anything, you're lazy. And then if you feel lazy, you kind of believe in it that if I don't do it, then I'm lazy, then I'm not loved. I can't be loved by people. And then you try to do something to gain that love for yourself. But after all, you were born like you deserve the love for yourself without even doing anything. You just hear you are love in general. You are love. So
Yes.
so definitely, yeah. Those it kind of work with some negative statements in a mindset where like it would sound like I need to do something so I will feel loved, or so they will love me, or I will deserve this and that. And yeah, that's also a great mindset work when you don't feel like you have to run after tasks, do tasks after tasks. You deserve to rest, and it's okay, and you're still amazing, and you're still loved, and you're still like the best version of yourself, even if you don't do anything at all. So that's
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
So
I totally agree. It's more of like, and I've been there before that path, and it's doesn't make it easier the culture that we live in nowadays, right? It's this very kind of like results oriented, action oriented kind of a society. It's like, how much are you doing? What are you doing? What are you showing? And so obviously you're not going to succeed. You're not going to be successful if you don't do this and this and this and this in a certain day, right? Or in a whole day. And, but not taking into factor, I mean, we're human. There's like, only so much we can do. I mean, if you think back to before even social media and before, like our parents' time, I mean, it was just simpler, right? They just went to work, cooked food, maybe, got together with some friends and family, and there wasn't all that pressure to achieve because no one's looking at what you're doing. And so now with this added, kind of layer of social media, it's almost like, we have to put stuff and we have to do things so that people can watch us. And so knowing that, oh yeah, so and so is a very, they're always doing stuff. They're have a great life or they are always accomplishing things, right? But accomplishing and productivity does not equate into happiness or
yeah,
a
100%.
calmer, peaceful mind, right? you have to figure out what that means to you, not
Mhm.
what other people are telling you need to do. I mean, people tell me all sorts of stuff. You have to do this, you have to do that, you got to post, you got to do these, you got to, this is the only way you'll be successful. But my equation of success for me is that I have peace in my heart and life. I'm calm. I get up with just like a relaxed mind. I go through the day, relaxed and calm. And so for me, that's also a definition of success because I'm not letting the outside really affect, my peace. And so, I think maybe you can agree to just that we don't have to live life based on what other people, like you said, you kind of give up your friend for a while. And so if you were not in that space, probably, of being so connected with your inner self, you might have just gone with what you wanted to do just to kind of like go with the flow, right? Because you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want people to think you're not cool. And so because you're not comfortable with who you are, I think then a lot of people agree with a lot of things that are going on. They don't think for themselves. And for me, I'm very okay with going against the grain rather than following people because I'm like, that's not for me. I don't care if I have one friend. I don't care if I have like no friends or whatever, because I know like what gives me happiness. At the end of the day, if I do certain things and I'm not happy, it doesn't matter how productive I've been, what I've done, what I've run, been running all around town doing things. It's just, it doesn't feel right to me. My energy is so off and I realize that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I wanted to ask you, how if someone wants to work with you, what kind of ways they can find, like, how do you have programs or how do you work with?
Yeah. So there's a lot of ways people can work with me. I have an Instagram page and a website. I have two separate websites for Ayurveda and my mindset coaching. Ayurveda is more long-term packages and stuff. And I can link them all on the description below. And
Hmm.
if people want to work on their health, their mindset, and just kind of overall, just kind of like energy levels and stress, I think Ayurveda mindset coaching is amazing for that because I'm a living proof of, what it can do for you. So I'm excited if you would like to just ask any question or contact me. I would love to, work with you. So what about you, Kate? Like if anybody is interested in just kind of improving their relationships and maybe even looking for someone because they can't understand why they can't attract the right relationship.
Yeah, definitely. I have a program for that. And yeah, I'm working with women. Um, I'm like working mostly with women over 30,
Okay.
uh, who are already like established in their careers, or they kind of know where they're going with their like jobs and their overall lives, but they struggle to find their partner, or they don't even, they're kind of invisible for men, or they're attracting the wrong type of men, and they
Okay.
struggling with creating beautiful, healthy relationships. I'm helping, like I have a program specifically for that purpose, and where I
Okay.
help women to go through it. It takes them from the journey like to themselves, and from the parents, starting from the parents' situations. It depends what their story, but we're gonna work with starting with the parents, with their path to self, I call it, like with their higher self connection, and then going into the boundary, like realizing what kind of boundaries they have, if it's healthy or not, what kind of boundaries they want to have. I help them set those boundaries and work like with all that. And it's all one-on-one coaching program. And also, another part of this program is creating healthy habits and maintaining them. So, same as you mentioned, that morning routine and evening routine are very important. I also have that in my program where I help them to create morning routines, and also like support them while they adjusting their life to it. Because we all know that habit don't create, like you can't create a new habit just like that in one day. It takes
Yeah.
time. And sometimes even you would think as that habit should be good for you, but it just doesn't fall into your life. It just You try and you try and it just doesn't work for you. And in this case, there are other ways to find different habits and or adjust it in some way. And I also helped with that as I have my own experience, so changing my life totally from and always experimenting too, like adding a few habits here and there and just removing and add new ones depending on where I'm at in my life, what I need in the moment. So I know that I know how to build it, how to get into it, and also how to work with the blocks, with the mental blocks, mindset blocks, when you know you would just want to do something but you're not doing it, and or you like you can't or you're afraid. So all of that can be worked through, and I have tools for that, including the energy work and deep work with their mindset as well and mindfulness tools. So yeah, that's the whole program is made for it, and I'm definitely inviting everyone interested to also send me a message. You can click also my website and find the calendar link to book a session with me. We're gonna add it all in description.
Sounds amazing. Well, I think we had a really great discussion today. I really enjoyed it, and hopefully, the people that are watching this got a lot out of it too. And so, yeah, I'm excited to chat with you again soon on some other holistic and kind of, other topics that we can delve into because there's so much to talk about in the spiritual world and holistic healing and health and wellness and mindset. It's just so vast that it's just so fascinating to me.
Yes, that was a great conversation, and I hope we were useful to people who will watch.
Yeah,
And of course, just for them to reach out, feel free to leave a comment and like and share this
yeah,
video if you thought it's useful. Thank
definitely. All right. Thanks, Kate. I will talk to you again then soon.
you.